In our effort to be part of the larger community, we have joined some Facebook groups. I came across a thread there that I thought was pretty interesting. Someone had asked, what are the best small box games with a short setup time? And I thought I would present what the collective hive mind came up with here on Legendary Tactics. This particular group normally focuses on solo games and solo gaming, but they aren't necessarily strict about it, and there are discussions on a wide range of topics. It's a great, friendly, and welcoming group called Bored and Alone. Do check it out if you have time. Coincidentally, and helpfully for my format, there were exactly 10 games named by the contributors to the list. These are in no particular order. Friday is one of only 2 games that I have played on the list. It's a fun concept. Friday, from the novel Robinson Crusoe, is just minding his own business when Crusoe arrives on the beach, completely helpless and incompetent. Friday must do what he can to help Crusoe not only to survive, but to be strong enough to fight off some pirates in the end, so Crusoe can escape and give Friday his peace and quiet back. It's a simple game that is pretty tough to win, but is full of interesting decisions of when to push your luck and fight, and when to take the L, converting a hazard card into a fight card, making the deck stronger for next time. A clever design. Space Hulk Death Angel is a card game set in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. Players work together as Space Marines to clear out various hostile aliens named Gene Stealers from an abandoned spaceship. Players use different action cards to attack, support, or move, and activate, which allows them to activate the terrain like pushing buttons and pulling levers and such. It can be compared in some ways to the game Ghost Stories, where players fight off endless hordes, attempting to reach the final battle with whichever Marines are still alive at that point. I haven't played this one yet, but it is apparently a great game if you can get past the rules, which are a little unclear, and the playtime is around 30 to 60 minutes, which is a nice length if you want to squeeze in a quick game before bed. Escape from Stalingrad Z is a game that can be played solo or cooperatively, set in a hypothetical world where there was a zombie plague that struck Stalingrad during World War II. Each game challenges the players to fight off the waves of attacking zombies and escape the city of Stalingrad. The game is laid out like another game I'm familiar with, Avatar: Crossroads of Destiny. The game is contained inside a spiral book where each scenario is revealed by turning the page and reading the scenario options on the left. The board itself is contained on the right-hand side. Like Avatar: Crossroads of Destiny, the game plays over a series of scenarios that are linked to make a campaign and to create a story. It's a neat concept and apparently a fun but grindy game. Dustrunner is a game that suits this list, and there's a lot of stuff in such a tiny tin. It is a solo-only game where a player has to make a run across a post-apocalyptic hellscape, fighting off bandits and dealing with creatures like dust worms to make it safely home. I haven't played this one, but it's apparently a game with lots of player choice, along with a healthy amount of push-your-luck mechanics. Airland and Sea is a war-themed card game where players play cards in the different theaters of air, land, and sea, playing their cards face up when they match the theater involved and getting special advantages, or face down purely for the strength points. The interest lies in deciding when to concede a battle and when to press on. It's a simple game, consisting of some decks of cards, but there's a decent amount of strategic subtlety to this one. The good news with Regicide is not that it's such a small box, but that you likely own it already and didn't even know it. This is a game that can be played with a standard deck of cards, 52 cards plus 2 jokers. Basically, players must work together to beat up on the Jack, the Queen, and the King cards, which are given different levels of health and capacity to do damage. Each suit gives you a special power such as card draw, blocking damage, and healing. It's a clever and interesting design and certainly fits the criteria of this list. Tiny Epic Dungeons is a game that I have some experience with. It is a small box with a full game inside, with a decent amount of complexity. It is a dungeon crawl on a small scale where players explore rooms, revealing enemies, booby traps, or treasures. The iconography on this one can be a bit heavy, but the game has a surprising amount of tactical decision making. For those of you who love dungeon crawler type games, this one is worth checking out. Final Girl is the first game I've heard of that replicates a slasher movie, complete with both horrific and silly story elements. It's a solo game where a player takes the role of the female protagonist trying to defeat a supernatural enemy. horror movie style. It apparently has similarities with another game I haven't tried yet called Hostage Negotiator. For variety, players can choose different characters to play and different baddies to play against. This game has a lot of fans who rave about the game as being one of the best games they have ever played. Dice Stars is a nifty little roll and write game where players roll varying amounts of dice in an attempt through a somewhat intricate scoring system to get the highest number of points. Scoring is based on scoring colors or matching numbers, with the ability to go double or nothing by rolling ones, which are marked with star icons on the dice. It has more interest than something like Yahtzee, as players have to be careful not to take too many dice at certain points. It is a simple game that doesn't overstay its welcome. It even has a challenging little solo scenario for those who don't have any opponents handy. Level 10 is a cooperative game with a neat box reminiscent of a Game Boy, for those of you who remember that. It's a simple card game where players look to build card rows up numerically to 10, representing a video game character working their way up through 10 levels of 5 different digital worlds. It was originally released as Okie Dokie, which was about putting on a successful music festival. There is a lot of fun to be had here, and it has a small box and doesn't require a lot of table space. It can be played solo or up to 5 players. And actually there was one more game that I'm going to tack on here as a special bonus. Set a Watch isn't anything to do with a stopwatch, as the title might suggest. Instead, this is a cooperative game where players are adventurers, trying to hold back the creatures who are trying to free the unspeakably evil Unhallowed. As you explore the world, one adventurer per round rests and runs the camp, while everyone else takes watch, working together to defeat the line of monsters looking to overrun the camp and extinguish the campfire. It's a neat, puzzly game that plays in about an hour, with a good deal of variety between the locations, the creatures, and the player abilities. So what do you think? Do you agree with these picks, or do you have some others to recommend? If you do, please use the comment section down below and let us know about them. And while you're down there, please leave a like and/or subscribe. This is Legendary Tactics.